Pea and Bam return. It's going to be short and sweet today. We're just getting back into it, and we've had a think, and we decided we needed to have a direction and a plan for this podcast. I mean, it's nice to be spontaneous, but especially when you're doing it with somebody else, it's nice to know where you're headed. I mean, I guess that's a picture of marriage also. We have a few items that we've decided together is going to be the mission of this podcast. And we're just going to go through them briefly, and Susie and I will both share our thoughts. And that will be this podcast. So, Susie, do you want to read out the first mission statement?
Number 1 is to share our faith.
All right. So, me and Susie are both Christians. Unapologetically, we want that to be very clear on this channel that our faith is our main identity, our number one identity, and we want to use this podcast as a vehicle to share our faith. We're not going to hit you over the head with our faith at the same time, but we want to hopefully let you learn a little bit more about Christianity and why we think it's good by this podcast.
Yeah, I will say, I'll put a caveat to not hit your head. To some people, we might be, because I think we live in an era where even the slightest thing that is contrary to one's belief is hitting them over the head. We live in a very offended and offensive forward society. So I wouldn't promise people that we're not going to, quote unquote, hit them over the head, because just how we live or how we believe might be that. So take it as you want. We're going to live our lives, and our intention is not to offend. But if our lifestyle and our beliefs offend you, then we're not apologizing for that. That's the unapologetic part.
Amen. All right, so the next mission statement is to share our testimonies, how God, in parentheses, how God is guiding our journey. What do you think that's going to look like, Susie?
I mean, I think that's directly correlated to sharing our faith. I think the sharing our faith is more broad spectrum, and the sharing our testimonies is more specific to us. Using the Bible and sharing how that is working out in our lives. So, yeah.
All right, you want to read the next one?
Discuss relationship topics such as singleness, dating, or courting, marriage, etc.
Exactly. So we believe there's a need for this type of content for young people. I think it's often an awkward topic. Often you wish you had known more. Along the journey. I'm 28, Susie's 27. We had premarital counseling. We had people around us who had been married before. We had parents, but we still some stuff we wish we knew beforehand. Things wish we knew before we started dating. Stuff about boundaries. You've heard about boundaries before if you listen to this podcast. So we think there's a need for that, and we believe that we can be used to help, even if it's only a little bit, even if it's only just saying, hey, these are, sorry for bumping the microphone, these are mistakes that we made, learn from, don't do the same thing we did, because at least we know what didn't work. We haven't been married for a ton of time, but we can at least learn from, our short experience.
Yeah. There's certain things that I think we have yet to learn, but I think we've learned a lot on the way of, our relationship. So, yeah.
We have a couple smaller mission statements. Maybe we'll just go through them quickly. We want to target a younger audience. And young, I guess, is relative here. We're not saying, if you're 30, this podcast is not for you. But it's...
We're 30 almost. I would say that our subject matter might be more relevant to young people, but I hope it benefits all ages. Amen. I'm not going to exclude anybody, because I would hope that Helps whoever it helps.
We want to, oh, I've already mentioned that one. We want to be authentic. We don't want to talk about theory a ton here. We want to talk about stuff that's practical and relatable. We want to give freely. So nobody's paying us to make this podcast right now. You know, this is a this is a complete this is a hobby. This is a charitable thing for us right now, and we want it to always be so. You know, no matter what happens down the road, God knows. But whatever happens, this will always be a free resource. This is going to be something that we will never charge anybody to have access to. You want to say the last one, Susie?
Yeah, but first I just want to add, like, I think the reason for the hoping that it's, you know, a resource for everybody is because for a group of people, like how I was raised with really good parents and a decent amount of good advice on a decent amount of subjects. And I know that's not the reality for everybody. There's some people who they can't talk to their parents at all. Some people who don't have parents. Some people who have, you know, just feel awkward, or maybe they have a toxic relationship or whatever. You know, it just is. I think it's our goal is to be there if somebody has a question, to try our best to answer it. Because I think sometimes people don't have anybody to go to with those questions.
True.
Our last one is to be unified privately and publicly. We both have to be up for a topic to do it. I think you added that, so please elaborate what that means. I'm not sure
So that
what that means.
To be clear, this podcast is not Bam's podcast. It's not Susie's podcast. This is a joint effort. So I'm not just grabbing Susie from the whatever she's doing and saying, "Hey, come record a podcast with me," and giving her, like, you know, making her my interviewee. Which, you know, previous episodes were more of an interview format, but we want this to be a collaboration, really. So whatever we're discussing, it's something that we both want to talk about. It's something that we both have an interest in. And, you know, whatever boundaries we've set in terms of we're going to be public about this, we're going to be private about this, we're going to have those conversations off camera, off microphones. So when we get on microphones, we're both on the same page.
Okay.
All right. This is more or less it for this first podcast episode. Pardon any technical difficulties if one audio is louder than the other. This is a work in progress, but we know with experience we'll get better. Thanks for listening. This has been Bam and Susie, and God bless. Bye.
Yep. And if you have any questions, just ask us. If you have anything you want us to talk about,
Yes.
let us know.
All right. That's it.
Okay, bye.